Shir of Yud Kislev. Yeah? We're talking about learning halachas which are not negei l'maisa. When halacha is not negei l'maisa, you're not mamshach the ein sof of Atzilus. Right? But still, when you're learning halacha that is not negei l'maisa, it is different. It is different than when you're doing Avos Hashem and Yiras Hashem. Because Avos Hashem and Yiras Hashem, you're a nivra. And when you're learning Teda, which is not negei l'maisa, it's a lakus. It's just not ein sof, it's just ein neshama, as you'll see momentarily. Shenkin halachas, when a person studies halachas, in the halachas, as you learn it down here, the chokhmah is revealed. However, I'm saying this again, the ein sof itself is not revealed, because that's the difference between halachas which are negei l'maisa to mitzvahs, and halachas not. But still, at least the ha'ara, a ray of that ein sof is here begilui. Olavosha asiyah, the garment of asiyah, derech ma'ivah doesn't block; it passes through it. Okay, this is a concept which is mentioned in a lot of places in Chassidus, which is called ma'ivir. Ma'ivir means, for example, you speak. What do you speak? What's in your heart? What do you feel? What's in your brain? So now you have an idea in your brain, it comes down into your heart, it comes out of your mouth. So what should it be? An idea or an emotion? It should be an emotion. From the brain, to the heart, to the thought, to the speech. If you speak ideas of seichel, we say it passed through the heart, but the heart didn't change it. That's called derech ma'ivir. So, Torah comes from Chachmei Law till Asiyah. It goes through all these levushim, but it doesn't change it fundamentally. It changes it a little bit, but not it remains a lakus, and it passes through derech ma'ivir. Let's wait a little bit. K'mei b'yamtiv. For example, on Yamtiv. The garment of chesed of Atzilus, which becomes chesed of B'riyah. However, it's mechayeh l'mazeh agashmi al yedei ma'ivir chesed yitzirah v'asiyah, by passing through chesed yitzirah v'asiyah. On Yom Tif, there's a gili of B'riyah in this world. During the week in Eretz Yisrael, there's a gili of Yitzirah in this world, and in Chutz La'aretz there's a gili of Asiyah in this world. That's the way it works. So when you have Yom Tif, there's a gili of B'riyah. What's the pshat? It doesn't pass through Yitzirah and Asiyah. It reaches us. It does. But it's not changing. It's derech ma'ivir. And Alter Rebbe says, let's read a little bit. He says, I got to tell you that even this concept of ma'ivir, which means passing by without changing, is also his slapshus, also changes it a little bit. When your words come out of your mouth, they did get changed a little bit in the heart. She'ilaf came, because they were not changed at all. Would never come to this world. So Yom Tif, there's ashpah in Gashmias. It's Atzilus Ashpah, which has been Bria-sized. It came Bria-like. And it came into Asiyah just like it was in Bria. It passes through Yitzir and Asiyah and doesn't change. The same is true of Teda. The Teda comes from Atzilus Lamata, Chochmei Law, and even goes through Hishtalshalus, but it's different than the Hishtalshalus, which is the source of a Neshama and a Malach. The Neshama and a Malach source is B'derech Helen v'Hester Abeirim HaNivra, because it comes down to the Levushim and Nefesh Ruach, because it comes from the Chitzenis HaKelim of Atzilus. And therefore when it's Lamata, it's not a Lakus, even if Avos Hashem and Yiras Hashem, not a Lakus. Often even though, Shegash Meitzelam Hazard, the physical world itself, Vadei Master Lagamri, for sure covers over, Afilu HaChesed Asiyah, even Chesed of Asiyah, in other words, going back to Yom Tif. The physical world conceals over Chesed of Asiyah, it's a Gashmis, and Kochkin Chesed of Bria and Atzilus. So L'cha'era, when Teda comes down into Dvarim Gashmiyim, the Gashmis is Malam Master. And even before it came into Dvarim Gashmiyim, it was discussing Dvarim Gashmiyim. So the fact that it comes into Dvarim Gashmiyim himself is never like this. Nevertheless. Halacha Atzma in Gashmis Mamish. The law itself is never physical. It addresses something physical. But the law itself is Ruchniistic. Shehi Bechinis Ratzin, which is the will of the Eibishter. HaNimjah min Chochmei Law, which comes down through Chochmei Law. Lahakil or lahachmit, either to say kosher or treif, permitted or prohibited, lenient or strict. Rak, it's only sheyeda dumeira b'bchinas gilui big ashmias. It reveals itself in the physical world, but not through the physical world. If it reveals itself through the physical world, it would be impossible. It's revealed in the physical world, but it's not through the physical world. So the derech ma'ivir l'cheira means that it talks about dvarim gashmiyah. The etzem inyan that it's relating to a lower world is inyan for derech ma'ivir. But the Teda is a pneumistic inyan. And that's why it doesn't change from a higher world to a lower world.
Can you say that one more time? In the world, but not in the world?
Yeah, Teda, the physical world does not reveal the Teda. Teda shines on the physical world, but not reveals it. Because if it shined through the physical world would cover it over. even though Al-Teira is Elokus. So the only reason Teira comes out into this world and remains godly is because it's godly in its source. Throughout the Seder Ishtalshalos, it's going through a channel of Ma'avir, it's not changing fundamentally. And even though it's relating to physical things, it's only relating to physical things, but it's not involved in the physical thing. Because it's light. It's ideas. It's concepts. Like water descends from a high place to a low place. I'm not sure exactly why he needs this mushal for this. Huh? Yeah, but what's that negeya? That's another word. What's that negeya to the fact that it's nitfis and not nitfis and davagashmi? And he gives you an example. Okay, if adav aragashmi atzmi shaboy medaberes halacha, the physical thing which Allah addresses, be'emes u'mas lagamri, does cover over the Teira. In other words, the Teira, the way you see it through that physical thing, is behelim. But the Teira, as you learn it, is still begil. K'mei, for example, if you started the halacha of replacing a cow with a donkey, the halacha of a suffix, who's the muchsik of the uber? Pigel or lay pigel, ha pigel lay pigel, whether flesh is pigel or not, they just do the machshavas koyin, did he right to have a machshava, when did he have a machshava, and so forth. Vikashin and so forth. The meat covers over the alakus. And the law itself, before it actually becomes the meat, even with the reason that's nigladik, he may bechinas malchus the bria v'yitzira. It's a malchus the bria yitzira, and here comes the magic word, 316 at the top. The bechinas neshama sholakus. It passes through the channel of neshama. In other words, in the whole Seder Ishtalshalos, there's several channels. There's a neshama channel which even in Bi'az Alakus, since Teira, which is Chochmah, which is Ein Sof, passes through the neshama channel, even though it's diminished, it changes from world to world, which is of course the difference between learning Teira Shalei Ali B'Dehil Chaseh and Teira Ali B'Dehil Chaseh, which is Mamshad Mahus Alakus. But godliness it is. But neshamas and malachim pass through nefesh ruach. And although the shadish is chochmei law, but nefesh ruach cover it over, that's why they come down lamata to be nevraim. The key to this whole shtickle is the word eir neshama. Eir neshama is a lakus even in bia. Shu lakus. Hamachayu mahave, which gives life and creation to nefesh ruach de bia, to nefesh ruach of bria tzir and nasiya. Shehein, which are the chilu rechimu shalom malachim v'neshamas. Here he mentions the shamas also. The Avad Hashem and Yiras Hashem, or the Yiras Hashem and Avad Hashem Malachim and the Shamas as well. V'chabad Shalahem, and their intellect, which is the basis for their hisbonenus, which creates the Avad Hashem and Yiras Hashem Yayin Layesh. But since the Neshama, which creates Malachim and the Shamas, passes through Nefesh Ruach covers over it. In the case of Teira, the Chochmei Law, which is the Slavish and Nefesh Ruach, Chochmei Law, which is the Slavish and Eira Neshama, since it does not go into Nefesh Ruach, it remains a lakus even in Biyah. V'lachein he, and therefore she, that means the light of the Neshama, Miravet Samayim, can satisfy the thirst of Malachim and Neshamas Lamayla, Kedem Sheyadil Amazeh, before they descended into this world, Kamayim Ayedim V'chulas, water sent from a high place to a low place. Now Rabbi said, there's a very, very big problem here. And this problem is going to be addressed in the shiur of we have to read a little bit more, a couple more lines of Yud Aleph. Okay? And that is that we're now saying what? That Eir Neshama is a different channel. It's godliness and biyah, and it carries Chochmei Law. But we're also saying something else. That Eir Neshama feeds a Nefesh Ruach. So you can ask a kasha. If Eir Neshama is a lakus, and therefore when Teira comes Lamata, since it comes to Eir Neshama, it remains a lakus even in biyah. But if Eir Neshama feels Nefesh Ruach should also be a lakus. And the Teretz says there's a very big difference. There's a very big difference between Chochmei Law, the Slapchus and Eir Neshama, and Eir Neshama, the Slapchus and Eir Nefesh Ruach, which will be discussed tomorrow. This is Yud Aleph. Chochmei Law of Eir Neshama remains Eir Neshama. So even though it's only a ha'ara, it's a tzimtzum, it's a lakus. But Eir Nefesh Ruach has become of Eir Neshama in a way which is Ma'alim U'mastim. V'gam ach lasi, even after Torah comes on into this world, it's much higher than the intellect of Asiyah. I feel the bechinas neshama, even the level of neshama shelikus, which is godliness. Now I got to tell you, the way the Alter Rebbe, the way the Rebbe Rayatz breaks up the prokim, the shiurim is weird. I mean, l'cheira, the shir Avilav should have started 2 lines before V'gam, but that's why he did Rebbe and we're the Chassidim. It's very hard to understand the division because from the word V'gam, 4 lines from the top, he already starts the new inyan. And the new inyan is that Ein Nefesh Ruach, Ein Neshama carries Teda, and then Ein Neshama gives Chayes to Ein Nefesh Ruach. But there's a huge difference between Ein Neshama, the way it carries Teda, and the way Neshama is Mechaya Ein Nefesh Ruach. And therefore he says, Teda, even Lamata, is greater than a field of Bechinas Neshama She'alakus. Because he means the Bechinas Neshama which is going to go into Nefesh Ruach. Did you follow what I said? Shai, you understood what I said a little bit? Okay, now.